Good morning or good afternoon. Yes, I'm Adrian Fleming, the CEO of Gold Island Inc. And as you probably know, we have already started a vigorous gold exploration program in Newfoundland, or Newfoundland, as they tell me is the way I need to say it. And so the purpose of this webinar is to introduce you to our team. And I want to take the time today to speak about the 6 people who are the key to our ongoing and rapidly escalating gold exploration program in Newfoundland. Firstly, Paul Robinson. Paul is our VP of Exploration. Paul's been in the exploration business for about 25 years. He has extensive experience in Argentina and Chile and Nevada. He has a PhD, so he's Dr. Robinson. And his PhD and one of the areas where he has superior skill sets is with GIS, Geographic Information Systems, and handling large quantities of data. And of course, modern exploration activity generates significant amounts of digital data, and that's a very powerful aspect of treating that information, interpreting it, compiling it, interpreting it is a key component of modern exploration activity.
Hello everyone, I'm Paul Robinson, the Vice President of Exploration for Gold Island Inc. I'm here in Lassie, Newfoundland, Canada, and we're very excited to be exploring here. We're just a few miles from our flagship project, Notre Dame. We're in what is surely one of the most mining-friendly jurisdictions in the world, and we're very pleased with the welcome that we've had, and very pleased that the people here are so excited about mining and its future in this province.
So that's Paul. The second person of the 6 is an Australian-based geologist called Steve Windle. He's our chief geologist. He also has a PhD. So we've got Dr. Robinson and Dr. Windle. Steve is going to be working in a consulting capacity for us. And Steve basically is our brains trust. What often happens in exploration programs is the VP exploration and the geologists get dragged into spending a lot of time planning, doing logistics, getting to and fro from wherever their base might be to the project area. And that is at the expense of them using their geological skill set in exploration. So bringing a person like Steve on board, who is not going to be consumed with logistics and planning and things like that, allows him to spend the bulk of his time looking at the scope of the work we're doing, the nature of the work, the cost effectiveness of that work, and more importantly, interpreting the data as it continues to come in and working with us to say, well, that didn't work, well, this is what we do next. So that's Steve Windle.
Hi, my name's Steve Windle. I'm very excited to be joining Gold Island in Newfoundland this summer. I am a geochemist and an economic geologist based in Australia, but I've been working all over the world. We've got a great team at Gold Island, a large land position, very prospective, and I'm confident that we're going to have a successful campaign in 2022.
The 2 younger geologists on our team are both women. The first is Mattea McRae. She is from Newfoundland. She's just finished her master's degree at Laurentian University in Sudbury and comes very highly recommended. She's previously worked a little bit in industry and also with the Newfoundland Geological Survey. And so Mattea is on the island now. She's just come back from finishing her thesis work, and she's one of the 2 women who are our younger geological people.
My name is Mattea, and I'm a geologist with Gold Island. I'm here in Lassie. looking at one of the first discovery holes for the Notre Dame project. So if we take a look at over here, we can see our main host for this project, which is this rhyolitic unit, which has been brecciated and shot through with pyrite. So this unit has two phases of silica veining. If we look over here, the later quartz vein, which is cross-cutting this darker silica and sulfide-rich stringers. And so within these dark stringers, we have coarse-grained pyrite, which is strongly associated with the gold.
Laura Mateo is the other of our younger geologists. Laura, interestingly, is from Spain. She has also just finished an MSc at Memorial University in St. John's. And her experience prior to commencing her MSc was with the Chilean Geological Survey, where she worked for 6 years. So she's had quite a bit of exposure to rocks and geology in what is obviously a very interesting part of the world. And as many of you know, Chile has these huge copper deposits.
Hello, my name is Mateo, geologist with Gold Island. I'm here in Perry Harbor, Newfoundland. I'm very excited to be part of a team of geologists that are going to be exploring this island during this gold rush. Currently, Newfoundland is one of the best places for gold exploration in the world, with the first mines developing in the next few years.
So those are the four geologists of our team, international, because they come from different places, but a wealth of experience. And I'm sure that that given that we have two very experienced and then two relatively inexperienced people as our geological team, that the younger women will be on a very fast track learning from Paul and from Steve. So let's go over now to non-geological people, because we do a lot of work in the field and we need specialists and people with significant skill sets to help get that field work executed. I think I've mentioned before in some of my discussions an entity called Ground Truth Exploration. This is a group of people out of Dawson in Yukon, Dawson City in the Yukon, and I worked with them previously in another life with a company called Underworld Resources back in 2008, 9, and 10. Ground Truth Exploration is part of the Sean Ryan, Kathy Wood empire, and their specialty is undertaking field activities. Isaac Fage is the president and principal of Ground Truth Exploration. As I said before, I worked with him in the Yukon back a decade ago. And Ground Truth are, in my opinion, probably one of the best teams in the industry to do systematic sampling, which is the foundation for our quest to make a discovery. So Isaac has 15 years experience doing this kind of thing. He's currently just arrived back in Newfoundland and putting the team together. So he'll be heading up a team of about a dozen people who will continue with this really important soil sampling programs that we're doing on our several projects. And it's wonderful to be able to continue to work with Isaac and the team from Ground Truth.
Hello, my name is Isaac Fage. I'm president with Ground Truth Exploration. This year on the island of Newfoundland, we'll be undertaking an extremely large systematic soil sampling program on behalf of Gold Island. Deep soil sampling programs with standardized protocol are the foundation for gold discoveries. This is the strategy that Gold Island is undertaking to help delineate quality drill targets and generate the next significant discovery on the island. Thank you.
The last person I want to speak about of our 6-person team is a guy called Jason Burton. Jason lives in Lassie, which is a little town on the north coast of Newfoundland. Jason has a business of building prefabricated structures in Lassie. He's also a self-taught prospector. And our more advanced projects, which is what we call the Burton prospects, we optioned from Jason. Jason's role with Ground Truth is to help coordinate our logistics. He's a Newfoundlander, and he's got lots of irons in the fire. He has equipment that we're going to be able to rent from him from time to time, but he'll also be assisting us with other aspects of logistics. And I'm hoping during the summer, when we're gearing up for a lot of field work, that Jason will be able to find some time away from his business to follow his passion, which is out doing prospecting. Jason will be working with our geological team as we go out to each of the areas where we have soil geochemistry results that are interesting to prospect and map and sample outcrops if they occur.
Hello, my name is Jason Burton, and I'm here in Lassie, Newfoundland, and I discovered the Notre Dame project that Gold Island is going to be developing this season. I'm here to provide logistical support and advisor, and prospector, and guide. And like I say, the first sample ever came out of the Notre Dame project ran at 84 grams, and we've had some high grades since, up to 124 grams, and the project is coming along nicely.
So that's the 6. We are lucky to have such a diversified and highly qualified group of people to help us with our exploration. There, of course, will be lots of other people who will be part of the work that we're doing. But these 6 people, led by Paul Robinson, our VP of Exploration, are key to the ongoing search that we're conducting, which has, of course, the goal of finding a new gold deposit in Newfoundland. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Adrian. We're going to open the floor to some attendee questions. If there are any, feel free to submit them. But to kick it off, Adrian, I'd love to learn more about yourself. You've obviously been in the business such a long time and have quite the career. What drives you to continue exploration?
That's a good question, Desha, and thank you for asking that. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, that's great.
Oh, good. Yeah. So I've been quite lucky in the 40 years that I've been in this exploration space to not only have worked in many different parts of the world, but I'm also fortunate to have been either a member of or the leader of teams that made significant discoveries, gold discoveries, that have subsequently become large gold mines. The first one was Porgera in Papua New Guinea. Then I worked in Western Australia and a project called Big Bell, which was a mine, interestingly managed by a person who became the President of the United States, Herbert Hoover. That became a mine after our work that identified that they hadn't taken all the gold out and there was plenty more left. Then I worked in South America, and a deposit called Gross Rosabelle in Suriname was defined under my watch. That now has resources and production of, I think, around 15 million ounces. So it's turned out to be a monster. I worked up in the Arctic on a project called Hope Bay. That is now a mine. And then in 2008, made a discovery in the Yukon, a deposit called Golden Saddle, on the back of work done by Sean Ryan. Not a mine yet, but it will be one of these days. So making discoveries, Dasha, is a little bit like an adrenaline rush or a hit with some illegal substances. Not that I've embraced those, but you develop an addiction because, working with a team of people, and it's always a team, and then making a discovery and then growing that discovery and defining that discovery. And then the engineers and the metallurgists and everybody else comes in and they say, okay, we don't need you geologists anymore. We're building the mine. You go off for somewhere else and find another one. That is an extremely satisfying activity. And once you've done it a couple of times, of course, you have the addiction. So, and you get paid for doing it. And if you have a significant stake in the company, you might get paid, a substantial amount of money when another company comes along and buys the project. So intellectually and personally satisfying to make discoveries, potentially providing, significant financial reward, is something that is fun. I love working with people. I'm addicted to geology and the hunt for, the next treasure chest. I hope it's going to be in Newfoundland. So, we're on this quest, and we're going to give it our best shot. And if the gold gods are kind to us, maybe we'll be successful. We'll be working very hard to be successful.
Absolutely. All right. Well, there's lots of questions coming in. Robert's asking, can you please go over the investment thesis for Gold Island?
Yes, we're working very closely with an entity, a banking broking group in Toronto called Power One Capital. They already raised privately about a bit more than 8 million Canadian dollars. Eric Sprott, who is a renowned and well-known Canadian investor, made a significant contribution to that money. So that gives us more than enough funds for a couple of years of exploration. We plan, Gold Island is still a private company. We're not listed on the stock exchange yet. We've started that process, and sometime in the next 2 or 3 or 4 months, Gold Island will be listed. We may well raise some more money when we take the company public. But the thesis in the junior exploration space, and we're one of hundreds of companies that work in this way. People buy shares in our company on the basis that, well, Adrian's had some success before. Maybe he can do it again. Fingers crossed. So, we're very careful with how we spend money. We know that it's precious, that other people have provided us with those funds on the anticipation that we'll be diligent and do cost-effective work. We're not producing gold bars yet. We don't have a cash flow. But that is the methodology whereby many companies, junior companies, go about their business. And if you look at the statistics of discoveries, more discoveries are made by junior companies like Gold Island and some of the other companies working in Newfoundland than the large mining companies. The large mining companies tend to sit back and watch us all, and then when one of us comes up with something, they'll come along and acquire the company outright, so that they're buying the discovery rather than making the discovery.
Okay. I know you mentioned the listing, but David's just asking, is there any update on the exchange listing? So maybe you can provide a bit more detail.
Yes. So it's going to be an RTO, David. We've got the lawyers working on that. We recently finished the technical report, the 43101 report. The stock exchange at the moment is pretty busy, and so it may take a little longer to do, but these processes normally take, a minimum of 90 days, and we're probably 20 days into that. So it's just a matter of we can't drive the schedule. There's a number of steps you have to work through to achieve a listing, and to a degree, we're at the beck and call of the authorities who approve each of the steps that we go through. So, sometime if we can't get it done during the summer, it would certainly happen as we get closer to the fall this year.
Great, thank you. Robert's asking, how much acreage is in Newfoundland?
Yes, now that's a good question, because we work in square kilometers, and I think we have about 6,000, just a touch over 6,000 square kilometers. We have 7 separate project areas, and one of those, which was mentioned in the webinar already, is the Notre Dame project, which encompasses the Burton prospects. And so At the moment, that's our highest ranked prospect. That's the one that we will probably go to with the drill rig first. But we've done, as you're probably aware, a significant amount of geochemical sampling last year, 2021. The results from that are all back. We did work on 3 different projects or 3 different areas. Very interesting results from a number of locations within those areas. And in fact, the team that spoke on the webinar on the summit a few moments ago are currently in the field and probably will have gone out today in a helicopter, because the first project area that they're going to follow up these interesting soil sampling locations is the Blizzard Prospect in the middle part of the island. And the objective of that activity is to go to the location where last year's sampling gave us results with high levels of gold or anomalous levels of gold, to see if there's outcrop, or maybe, as in the case of Newfound gold, boulders that are just lying there that nobody's ever picked up. So the fieldwork is starting on our properties, and we're very excited to see that the snow is at last melted, and as geologists we can actually get out and see rock. That's what we do. We like to find rock, and we like to find rock that's got mineralization in it. So the process is underway, and that's one of the reasons why none of the other team have been available this afternoon to participate and answer questions. So they left it to me to talk to you about what we're doing and try and answer the nice questions that you're asking us. And thank you for that.
Okay. Well, yeah, it was so great to see the team in their element on site. In your opinion, what are some of the most important skill sets or experience that your team members have and are bringing to the table?
That's a very good question. I think geology, to some extent, is a very visual activity, because you're looking at rocks, you're looking at maps, you're looking at data, but in the field you're looking at rocks and you're trying to find rock that has indications of mineralization. And so one of the important skill sets for an economic geologist, an exploration geologist, is the sum of the different geological occurrences that he or she may have seen in their experience. And so, with Paul and with Steve, having worked in many different environments, many different geological settings, they've seen a lot of different geology over the years. They've seen a lot of different expressions of mineral occurrences, both on the surface and in drill core. They've been involved, as have I, with discoveries. And so in most endeavors, we are our value and our expertise and our intellectual property is the sum, the accumulation of the experience we've had. So, with years under their belts, these two guys are well qualified to carry out this important exploration work. And then, of course, you've got keen young people like Mattea and Laura, who, are at the beginning of their career, as each of us was, in my case, a long time ago. They're fit, bright, young, motivated people who enjoy getting outdoors. They enjoy, interacting with other people, enjoy the start of their work in looking at rock units. And as you saw from the little clip of Mattea, that they were boxes of drill core from the previous drilling at the Burton prospects back in 2014. And she was pointing out to us, she was pointing out to us some of the features in the drill core. I'm going to sneeze, sorry. Some of the features in the drill core that tell you that, that piece of core runs, 7 grams per ton or whatever gold grade the assays came back in. So I think maybe that's part of the answer to that good question you just asked, Dasha. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Robert's asking, there are many competitors in Newfoundland. Why should they invest in Gold Island? And I guess you can't invest right now, but in the future.
Yes. Robert, that's a good question. So I think when you're looking at companies, and it's a little bit like buying lottery tickets. You'd never know which ticket that you buy is going to bring you the jackpot. And exploration is a similar process. But what I would say to you is there's a few criteria that you need to bear in mind when you're investing in the junior exploration space. The first one is the location. Investing in underdeveloped third world countries where there's no certainty that the mining regulations won't be changed tomorrow is probably not a good look, probably not a sensible thing to do. So you need to be thinking about a jurisdiction or a location, a country where the mining law is transparent. It's commercially sensible and reasonable, and where there's not the likelihood of warfare or the country suddenly deciding they're going to take over, they're going to make all the mines owned by the government. So jurisdiction is the first thing. I think the second thing is the people involved. And it's important, if you're going to invest, to learn a little bit about who are the people that are involved in leading the company and doing the work. Have they a track record of working in the industry? Have they had previous successes? What is their pedigree? I think the next thing is the funding. Exploration costs money. You have to have money to do it, and you have to look to invest in an entity where the potential for raising additional capital is available. And then perhaps the last thing is ESG, environment, social, and governance, because they are really important features. And in more and more these days, we as exploration people and the mining industry in general is being looked at for the way it conducts its business. Are we environmentally mindful? What is our relationship with the people that we come in contact with? Because you're always working on property that either is government owned or privately owned. So you've got to respect the people who you impact with your activities. And then, of course, governance and health and safety are also key components. And so when you look at a company and you look at their website, there's a lot of information on the website, but one thing I would be looking out for as well these days is, is there the acknowledgement that that ESG is something that the company's embraced, that they're mindful of, and they're honouring those obligations.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you so much. I think that's actually a perfect place to end off this webinar on. Thank you so much for obviously introducing us to the team and answering all the questions that came in. Thank you to everyone who joined us today and asked great questions. Of course, if you think of more questions following the summit, the email for Gold Island is on that screen right there. And as Adrian said, there's more information on the website, goldisland.ca. But before closing out, I'll pass it back to you, Adrian, if you want to, any final words or remarks.
Yes, what we're trying to do with Gold Island is to have discussions like this every few weeks, and it's important that we reach out to people who are interested in our company or who have already invested in Gold Island. we enjoy the interaction with people like yourselves who have asked these good questions on this panel. And I think Dasha probably will be sending out an invitation to the next summit or webinar that we're going to do, which is May 31. And I'm going to be talking with a couple of other experienced geologists about greenfields, the process of greenfields exploration. So watch this space, and if you have time to listen live or go to the website and pick up these discussions we have, we'd be very pleased that you would do that. And of course, if you have other questions or comments, don't be hesitant to reach out to us, and we'll try and respond in an orderly way.